Welcome back to another video. It's been a while since we've had anything posted on the channel. I'm sorry about that. Things have been rough as of late. Everyone's been dealing with their own problems and stuff along those lines. But today I have a predaplant Albaz deck profile built. No very little Despia. This is not a Despia build. It just plays Despia for the fusion support. So, let's get into it. First up, we have triple Orpheus Scorpio. When it's normal or special summoned, you can discard a monster to be able to special summon a predaplant from deck. You're going to do Cobra or Clamidus, depending on whichever is more appropriate at the time. Next, we have Bolfocula. Sorry if I butchered this name. Bolfolicula. When it's in the pendulum zone, it is basically a normal poly for dark monsters. That's basically it. And then if it's added to the pendulum zone, extra deck zone, as a fusion material, then you can add a predaplant from extra deck or graveyard to hand. Dark pendulum monster, my bad. To go along with Bolfolicula, I'm playing one Triantis, so you can use pendulum scales to make the level 5. Two Biblisp, branded fusion target, as well as it allows you to add a predaplant monster from deck to hand when it's sent to the graveyard. One Clamidus and one Cobra to special summon off of Scorpio. Clamidus is a super poly for monsters with a predator counter and monsters you control. And then Cobra is when it's special summoned by a predaplant monster, then you can add a polymerization or fusion spell from your deck to your hand. For plant support, we are playing 3 Lone Fire Blossom. You can once per turn tribute a face-up plant to special summon another plant from your deck, special summoning the Scorpio, so you can get access to your Cobra faster. And last one is Stay Sailor. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can send one plant level 5 or lower to the graveyard. You're going to be sending Biblisp, and it's a light for branded fusion. I'll put the actual card up on the screen. Moving on to the branded stuff, we have 2 Albaz. Albaz is Albaz. You're never going to summon this thing unless you absolutely have to. 3 Kit. If you want to cut one for an Aluber, that works as well. Special summon it if you have a Albaz Fusion engraved. And then you can add a branded spell trap from your deck to your hand, and then send a card from your hand to the bottom. 1 Tragedy and 1 Ad Lidium for the Despia stuff. Dark Target for Lubellion, add this to hand. When this is used with Albion, you can special summon a level 8 or higher fusion monster that is banished from your graveyard. Moving on to the spells. Triple Predapractice. Special summon a predaplant from your hand, and then add a predap card from your deck to your hand, except Practice. But for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters. Doesn't matter, we're only playing fusion monsters anyways, because of branded fusion. And then you can only activate 1 Predapractice per turn. You special summon Scorpio, add Biblisp, Scorpio effect chain to discard the Biblisp to summon Cobra, and you get a search for the frog. Triple branded fusion. It is a whole combo starter on its own. You can summon one Albaz fusion monster by using monsters from your deck as fusion materials. 2 Super Poly, put the card up on the screen. You can use monsters from either field, and it's a spell speed 4. 1 Predaprime fusion, it's the same thing as a Super Poly, but if you control a predaplant monster, and you don't have to discard. 1 instant fusion to summon a level 5 fusion, so you can just get a search and then summon Cobra. Moving on to the traps. 3 Predaplanting. You can send a Predaplant monster from your deck to the graveyard to give all monsters on the field a Predator counter. While they have a Predator counter, they are level 1. And then when you fusion summon, you can banish this card from your field, target 1 card on the field, and destroy it. This is really good, especially with how much we fusion summon, and it puts a stop to Xyz and Synchro decks. And then if you have Dragos Tapelia out, it is a mass negate. Branded spell trap or branded traps. 2 Screams of the Branded. We use our fusion monsters for more fusion monsters. So Screams of the Branded allows us to OTK and or more interruptions. 2 Expulsion. It allows your opponent to get a monster from your graveyard. If you do Biblis, when Biblis is sent to the grave, you can add another Predaplant to hand. And then 1 Judgment to deal with those really big boss monsters. Moving on to the extra deck. 2 Mirror Jade. If you want to cut a Mirror Jade and play another Dragos Tapelia, that works too. You can play the Albo Loss, whatever, fusion. You can only control 1 Mirror Jade. You can send a fusion monster from your extra deck, Albaz fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, and banish a card on the field, non-target. And then if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can destroy all monsters during the end phase. All monsters your opponent controls during the end phase. 2 Albion and 1 Lubellion. 2 Albion, 1 Lubellion. You can play 2 Lubellion, 1 Albion. Albions, when they're summoned, you can fusion summon by using monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard to banished. Lubellion, you have to discard a card, and then it puts from field, grave, or banished into the deck. Albaz and a dark or light monsters. And then if Albion is sent to the during the end phase, is in the graveyard and was sent there this turn, you can set or add to your hand a branded spell or trap. 1 Sprint just for Mirror Jade, so you can get access for kit follow-up turns. Predaplant stuff. 1 Triff. It's an extra deck negate. It's your beatdown. It's a 1 card kill by itself. It gains the attack of all monsters on the field with a Predator counter other than itself. If your opponent controls a monster with a Predator counter, you can special summon it from the graveyard. And while you control this fusion summoned card, you can once per turn negate a monster summoned from the extra deck. 1 Predapower Fusion Dragon. It takes 2 fusion monsters. No. Triff takes 3 dark monsters on the field. This takes 2 fusion monsters. And once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, you contribute a monster with a Predator counter to negate. And then if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card, battle or card effect, you can target 1 dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use this effect once per turn. That first effect is basically an Omni negate. It is an Omni negate. And it's only a soft once per turn. When this dies, you can bring it right back out. 1 Dragos Tapelia. It's another negate. You can put a Predator counter on something. And then monsters your opponent controls with Predator counters have their activated effects negated. 1 Chimera Fleecia to deal with problems, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Poly on the follow-up turn. 2, let's try and butcher this name, Ambumelodius. When it's summoned, fusion summoned, you can add a predap monster or a predap card from deck to hand, and then you contribute a monster you control to special summon a monster, or a monster with a predator counter. Special summon a monster from the deck, a predaplant monster, which you're going to do Cobra, so Cobra gets to search branded fusion. Instant fusion target as well. 1 Garura, super poly target. 2 monsters with the same type and attribute, gets 2 attacks, and when it gets sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. 1 Despian Queritus, and 1 Masquerade the Blazing Dragon for our Despia monsters. Queritus can change everything on the field to 0 until the end of the turn, and then if a card is added, or when it leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can add or special summon 1 Alabaz or Despia monster from your deck. Masquerade, while you control this fusion summoned card, your opponent has to pay 600 life points to activate anything, and whenever your opponent controls a fusion, synchro, Xyz, or ritual monster, you can special summon it back from your graveyard. That will be it for this deck. I will be having a Crystal Beast deck opening and 3 times deck profile coming up soon. Stay tuned for that. Peace out.